Hey there and welcome to this week's Big Voice with me, Wendy Parker. So get comfortable, grab yourself a cuppa, and I'll see you soon. Fancy footwork, how good communication stops offence. Now, did you know that the elk, we're going to be talking about the elk this week. Did you know that the elk actually makes a really distinct sound when they walk? You know, this fancy footwork is actually a way of communication. That's what the experts say, that it's a communication and engagement with the other elks. And their ankles actually crack and pop. They make a crack and popping sound. And it's believed that this sound actually tells the elk, it communicates to the elk that the other elk is actually approaching behind them. I know, it's fascinating. And I thought about the times I've been in leadership, because I've had the privilege of being in leadership in church for over 20 years. And during that time, my ears have become attuned to good communication, to the cracks and pops of people's ankles, elk's ankles, if you want to use that analogy. And the sound of dysfunctional and bad leadership has a very different sound. And unfortunately, if we don't make communication a top priority, this neglect is going to lead to more wounding and more brokenness and more scars. And I was thinking about Jesus's 3-year ministry and how he really communicated to the disciples. He communicated on what God's upside down kingdom was actually about. And the more he communicated, the more he encouraged and built trust in them and got them as a group together to listen to the distinct sounds of God's kingdom. It actually helped them to listen out for unfamiliar sounds of the kingdom of darkness, Satan's kingdom. And Jesus needed to know that his disciples actually got the sounds of what the hunter was up to, of what Satan was up to, and to be alert at all times, because that sound coming from behind us is not going to be the elk. It's actually going to be the hunter firing an arrow ready to shoot and make you run on a blood trail. So it's really important to know the sounds of who the hunter is and God's kingdom. And the way we do that is to just keep the communication going, to keep it flowing. And Ephesians 4:27, it actually says to not give the devil a foothold. And this means we need to not give him space to move and to pull back his bow and to shoot it. And this, if we keep the communication tight with each other, if we actually are all on the same page, then we will be aware of the devil's schemes in church leadership. Because when you actually recognise the sounds that cause offence, that cause rivalry, that cause bitterness and comparison and competition, then you know you need to move those ankle bones and do some fancy footwork. And I'll see you next week.